Hey everyone, Joe Waxman here. And in this video, we're going to look at the charts of politicians. This is going to be the Astrology of Politics video. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share button, all that good stuff. You know what to do. All right, let's get right into it. No nonsense. I don't need to preface all this stuff, give you an introduction like so many videos. Annoying, might I add. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this is the mediocre astrologer. Meh, he's okay. That's the tagline. All right, Joe Biden. Very unsavory character, Joe. Very much a public liar. In any case, sad descendant, but he's got a packed 12th house in Scorpio. The guy is so scary. Okay, and deeply, deeply secretive. Right? He's got Mars in domicile, Mercury, Sun, Venus. And somebody was trying to say, like, oh, the 12th house is not hidden. It's not secretive. Look at Joe Biden. He doesn't hide it. Oh, give me a break. Joe Biden is nothing but deception. He's got Neptune in the 10th house, meaning that he's an actor. This is great for any kind of artist or actor or creative type. But for if it's you see this in a politician, it just means they are a professional liar. They are an actor. They do nothing but lie. And then you see him and he's like, oh, blah 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 blah. All he does is talk about Trump. By the way, that's all he can do. This whole thing, like everything he says is Trump, bashing Trump, like Trump this, Trump that. Like everything he says is about Trump. Like, okay, Trump's not even president anymore. You can't even shut up about Trump. He's so damn scared of him. But everything's a lie. Everything's a lie. That's the Neptune. But why? So, and he's got this exalted Jupiter in Cancer. But what about politics? Well, first of all, Uranus is one of the planets that we'll see a lot of with politicians because Uranus invokes the social mindset, the big mindset. And I don't mean social like, gabbing with people and stuff like that, going to parties, socializing. Social means being concerned with social issues, right? And politics goes hand in hand with social issues. Really, they're the same thing, right? So you're thinking about the world, you're thinking about how it goes together. And he's got Saturn and Uranus and Gemini in the 7th. Saturn is the law. So he was a lawyer, I think he started out. So that's going to be very much having to do with politics. Also the ability to lie, bald face, and just be okay with it. That's very prominent here. Jupiter's in the 8th house. That's the ascendant lord in Cancer in a water sign. So the guy's nothing but secretive, right? I mean, Jupiter has a nice trine to Venus and Sun and Mercury, and that's all good. But it's amazing. The guy's so secretive and hidden and like dealing with deep dark stuff. And then like how Uranus, so like how he'll say stuff that's like weird and like absurd. That's Uranus in the 7th. Uranus in the 7th can just be like very extreme, like that. And he's also very, very career centric because North Node in the 1st house. Anyway, let's keep going. Well, let me just check the dignities real quick. Pluto seems pretty slow. Let me just check that. Just want to be sure. 11 days. That's okay. All right, let's keep going. George H.W. I know these videos can take a long time, so I kind of have to push myself to not take too long on each one. Just kind of zip through it. But he was like director of the CIA, I believe. This is Poppy Bush. So North Node in the 1st house in Leo with Neptune. So another one, definitely not afraid of lies and deception and all that. But he's got Taurus, MC with Mercury and Sun. And then Sun's in Gemini, It's in the 10th. Well, it's pretty much conjunct the 11th house cusp. 11th house is another house that we'll see a lot of with politics. Why? Because again, the social issues, right? The houses that are going to be very prominent. 10th house for any big career. 11th house for thinking about the world. You know, you're thinking about groups, networks, and worldliness. And so it's very political. 4th house for home, homeland, right? And 4th lord. So 11th lord, 4th lord, right? So 11th and the 10th, that's very prominent for politics. Uranus, Sun square Uranus. So even though there's a square, there's still that connection. Uranus is basically in the 8th house cusp. So that's like deep intelligence, right? Deep secret intelligence, especially in Pisces. Because, you know, Uranus is very aware. It's a highly intellectual, aware, awake planet. Mars the 4th and the 7th with the South Node, exactly conjunct in Aquarius, right? 4th Lord, right? Sun in the 11th, and then, you know, Venus and Pluto in Cancer in the 11th quadrant, moving into the 12th house, but and then Sun is the ascendant Lord right on the 11th house cusp. So a lot of social concerns, obviously. Grand air trine, Moon and Saturn in the 3rd house in Libra, so Saturn's exalted here, and this is realm of the intellect. So definitely a very smart man, Poppy Bush, and a drug lord. He's a drug lord. That's why I call him Poppy. Poppy seeds, opium poppies. So yeah, Jupiter is actually in the 4th quadrant in Sag, so that's also homeland, but you know, Neptune's in the 12th, so like drugs, Afghanistan, poppy seeds, poppies, foreign, so that still applies. Also I think Uranus and Pisces in the 8th, that would as well be a very I don't know, not necessarily foreign, but secret, hidden, criminal enterprise. Okay, let's keep going. Wait, I gotta check his dignities. So Venus is very slow. Interesting. Oh, and Moon and Venus. Yeah, and that's exact, but there's a square. But yeah, there's a mutual reception here between 3rd and 12th. Yeah, intellect and foreign things. That's why he's Poppy Bush, in charge of the opium poppies, the heroin poppies in Afghanistan. Yep. Okay, what did I say? Venus was very slow. Just check. How slow is Venus? 2 days from station. So that's actually a very, very potent Venus. Venus in Cancer in the 11th, 12th house. So he's a sweet talker. He's a powerhouse and manipulative as hell. Because of that Pluto, that Venus, definitely able to win the hearts of his fellow gangsters, criminals. All right, let's go to George H.W. or George W. Sorry, W. Jr. All right, Junior Bush, Poppy Jr. W. Also, I was a Leo ascendant with Mercury, Pluto, and Venus. That's actually very strong here. Very confident. Really interesting, in fact, with the Pluto in the 1st house has become very, very powerful. And that's quite interesting. And then Sun, Saturn in the 12th. And Saturn's not in good dignity. North Node, Uranus in Gemini in the 11th. That's very political, extremely political right here. And then we got these stellium in Libra, moving into the 4th house cusp, but 3rd, 4th, Neptune, Chiron, Moon, Jupiter in Libra. That's actually really quite charming. I think Well, Matthew McConaughey has Venus Jupiter, but Moon Jupiter is still good. Venus Jupiter would be even way more charming, but this is still quite nice. Moon Jupiter is very um they're a great combination. And then Jupiter actually and Saturn have mutual reception. Not by a degree, but not too far off. That's going to be very good for yeah, that's the exaltation lords of the 12th and 4th. So homeland and 12th, foreign, hidden, secret things. But anyway, mainly politics is right here. North Node, Uranus, and Gemini in the 11th house. Very strong for that. Interestingly, he's an artist, and that it does lend itself to 12th house things and 3rd house things, right? Painting, drawing. So, and Venus in the 1st house as well is going to be very creative. So that's W. Look at all his planets are direct. Some are a little more slow, but they're all direct. This guy is just wants to go with the flow. So that's really interesting. But of course, he's taking orders from, people who are way more powerful than him. Fidel Castro, Cuban leader, and Cancer ascendant, well, 29-degree Gemini, but most of it's in Cancer, with Pluto, North Node, Venus. Well, that's actually kind of similar to Poppy Bush, or George W. Sorry. Then Mercury, Sun, Neptune in Leo. So Sun, Neptune, definitely not afraid to put on that acting, the acting mask, the actor in the 3rd house, communication. Again, very much easy to deceive people with this because it's highly creative. Let's make a great artist, right? But Jupiter is opposite. Sun opposite Jupiter in Aquarius. So Jupiter in Aquarius in the 9th house means he believes in utopia and dystopia and ideals, right? Aquarius for all social issues, but especially like and this can go either way, but dystopia, utopia, right? Communism, Marxism, Leninism, Stalinism, socialism, all that, communism, Cuban communism, whatever. That's going to be in the realm of Aquarius, especially Jupiter and Aquarius. Jupiter is retrograde, so Jupiter is going to be unconventional. It's going to go against the grain, against the norms, but it is geared towards thinking about that how are we going to organize society for the best? And his answer was communism, which I don't agree with, but also Uranus is in Pisces in the 10th house, Pisces MC, and that also says a lot about the communism. Why? Because Pisces, for the career, is nebulous. It's like it's without borders and expansion, and so there's something you'll see this often with these socialists. They're extremely liberal, right? And liberalism is coming from, not always, but a lot of times it can be seen with Neptune, Pisces type things, right? Also, Pisces, the nature of Pisces is sort of pyramidal. It really is, because you have the school of fish, and then above that you have the predators, and then like you have like the top predator at the top. It keeps going down like that, or like a pyramid. It's very predatory and hierarchical in the Pisces realm of Pisces. Like the polarity is between asleep masses and awakened few, right? So that's basically what communism wants to put forward, is everyone's basically like school fish, and we at the top, we're the predators, right? That's basically communism. If you want to know what communism really is, it's the few at the top feeding off the masses, making them slaves. It's just nothing. It's nothing good for the people. It's the opposite. It's good for the leaders and bad for the people. It's exactly the of course they're going to sell it like it's good for the workers. They have to. They can say the truth. They can't say we're going to live off you. You're our slaves. But that's basically what it is, making everyone a slave, and the few at the top get to benefit. That's communism. So anyway, 11th house, Mars and Chiron. But here we see, so where are we going to see the politics? Uranus at the top, also retrograde, but Jupiter in Aquarius as well. Moon in the fourth as well, right? And then, yeah, fourth lord would be Mercury. That's in Leo. That's conjunct the sun, 9 degrees, but still, so still bringing that in there. But yeah, North Node with Pluto and Venus, like he wants control. He wants power. Not the Venus so much, but the North Node Pluto in the first house, definitely. He's obsessed with power and control, with him at the top. So that's that. That's Fidel Castro. Right. Moon, Venus. Yeah, I didn't even see that. Moon, Venus. Moon, Venus. So second lord, fifth lord, second, fifth lord. So that's money. Money off of investments. I don't know if he made money off of investments, but that would help that. Or homeland and money. Making money from the land, stealing it. Churchill, PM of Great Britain, UK. All right. 29 degree Virgo ascendant. Again, very strong first house. We'll see that a lot. Mars, Jupiter, South Node. Mars in Libra is not great, but Jupiter is Jupiter's Jupiter in Libra or not. It's still really good. So yeah. And then there's South Node. South Node Jupiter in the first house shows that he's naturally very wise, natural wisdom, natural teacher. North Node Neptune, Chiron in the seventh. Then Neptune again. I mean, I actually like Winston Churchill, but then Neptune, man, that Neptune in a prominent position like angular, first, seventh, 10th, that's going to show a very strong ability to be deceptive, to act, right? That can be helpful very helpful as a politician, because a lot of politics is about saying the right thing, not necessarily saying the true thing, just saying the right thing, the thing that appeases people and makes them happy and makes you popular. Right. Any case, Pluto is in the 8th house. It's a very heavy position, destructive. It's in Taurus though. Sun's in Sag, Mercury. So, all right. So Uranus is in the 11th house along with Moon. So that's going to be very prominent for politics. Okay. It's posited by the Sun in the 3rd house. So speaking communication is going to be really good for Churchill. Why? Because he's got the 1st house planet, 2nd house planet, Mercury, and 3rd house planets. Right. So it's coming out very smooth. And he was a great speech maker. And that's one of the things that got him elected to office, is this powerful speaking ability. Mercury is in conjunct Chiron. So there's going to be some that's interesting. I don't know how that manifests itself, but there could be some problems with his speech or intellect. I don't know. I don't even know how it manifests. Saturn's in good dignity here. Saturn's in Aquarius. Again, that Aquarian vibe. So what's interesting is that you'll see a lot of the similarities with comedy, as you will with politics. Politicians are going to have to be a lot more serious than comedians, but you'll see a lot of crossover there. And yeah. Jupiter is ruling the 4th house. That's in the 1st with South Node. So 4th house for homeland, right? Two houses that majorly relate to politics, 4th and 11th. So yeah. Moon, 11th lord in the 11th house quadrant. Well, Moon's basically conjunct the 12th house cusp, so let's be honest. little bit more in the 12th, I guess you could say. But definitely Uranus in the 11th. It's going to be very prominent. Pluto in the 8th for strength, for sure. And then great communication ability. Let's just take dignities. So Venus is way out of bounds. Venus, Jupiter, mutual reception. Yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's actually perfect. Because it's by degree as well, 22, 23 degrees. So second lord and fourth lord. Second lord, fourth lord. So money and land, making money off the land, the homeland. That's a politician, right? If you can make money off the land, well, you're a real estate agent, or you're a politician, or you're a developer, or you're working in real estate somehow. But yeah, definitely politics could be that as well. Speaking about the homeland, things like that. So that's Churchill. Bill Clinton. Got to keep moving. So major first house. That's very strong for politics. You have to have a very strong presence, right? So you need a very strong first house. That's going to be the person themselves. Like, how big is their name? How big is their presence? How much can you how big do they feel? That's a lot of politics, because when they're on that stage, you need to inspire confidence. Anyway, he's got his Mars in Libra, so not exactly the most reliable. It's right on the ascendant, Mars in Libra. Neptune definitely can lie. Venus, Chiron, and Jupiter. Very strong first house. Sun in Leo, Pluto, Mercury, Saturn. Wow. In Leo, all in Leo. So very heavy here. In the 11th house. 11th house. That's the house of Paul. And then North Node Uranus in Gemini in the 9th. So his philosophy is is becoming very social. Radical, but social as well. And then Moon in the 8th in Taurus. But it's exalted, so that's okay. All direct. Mr. Smooth Willie. Slick Willie. All his planets are direct. Nothing's retrograde. Dude just goes along with the flow. And he's hyper Libra and Leo. Gemini. Slick Willie. Oh my God. Moon in in Taurus exalted. This guy's like, there's nothing. He's got no hard edges. None. He's like sharp as smooth as can be. I mean, this North Node in Uranus, that's kind of shocking, but and this Saturn in Leo is not great dignity, but man, smooth like butter. Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this biatch. Scorpio stellium, all in the 12th and 1st house, with Jupiter barely in Sag. Man. Sun, Chiron, Venus, Mercury, right on the ascendant. And no doubt she's smart. And then South Node. Right? No doubt she's smart. Mercury on Scorpio, right on the ascendant with South Node. Yeah. But look at this square. Saturn, Pluto, Mars in Leo, with Mars and Pluto exactly conjunct Saturn a little further away, 7 degrees, square. And the Saturn is exactly square Mercury. And Mars and Pluto co-rule Scorpio, obviously. But Saturn doesn't. Saturn's not good dignity in Leo. And Saturn is not in great dignity in Scorpio. And let's see. Yeah, none of these planets are in great dignity except for Sun and Leo. But anyway, this square with that intensity, that's fierce. This is the mark of a fighter, more like a killer. But yeah. All right. Well, she's got Uranus in Gemini in the 8th. Definitely, she wants power and control from her politics. Moon in Pisces in the 4th. So 4th homeland, right? Pisces for that ultra liberal ideology, with her and her cronies right at the top, feeding off the masses, lying her butt off, pretending that it's all for our benefit, while it's really the opposite. And Neptune is in the 11th house. Neptune in Libra, unaspected. This is very, very social, schmoozy, being able to say lie her butt off in politics, in groups and networks, with Libra, which is the sign of people, working with people. So anyway, yeah, she's definitely in politics. Bill is more of the politician. She's just more of the criminal. It's super smart. This retro 7 degrees. This is her Mercury is almost stationary. I'm telling you, this biatch is borderline genius, criminal genius, but nonetheless. Sun and Mars, mutual reception, not by degree, but 20 out. Yeah, her Mercury's basically stationary, right on the ascendant in Scorpio. Talk about evil mastermind. Yeah, she's as smart as a whip. All right, let's keep going. Calvin Coolidge, before I wake up, before I drown myself in 8 feet of water, something like that. Calvin Coolidge. Not a very okay. Here's another thing. Look at the first house. How popular are they? Look at the first house. That's one measure. Obviously, the career is going to measure their career, but as a person, like, how do we remember their name? Calvin Coolidge, not very much, right? As opposed to a lot of these other people with huge first houses, nobody's gonna ever forget their name, right? But anyway, he's very career oriented because he's got a North Node in Gemini in the 10th, and then Moon in Gemini, Mars in Cancer. That's not great. Venus, but very strong 11th house. So for politics, right here. South Node in the 4th, very strong as well. Saturn in Capricorn, that's good at anywhere, but it's in the 5th house here. And so Uranus actually is conjunct Jupiter, but it's more in the 12th. But Jupiter is the belief system. So his philosophy, his beliefs are becoming social, radical, but social as well. Thinking about the world, big up your belief system. All right, I don't know why I said that, but that's the way it came out. I don't know. Moon Mercury mutual reception. That's actually not bad because they're not too far by degree. And Saturn's retro. Moon Mercury. So Mercury's ruling the 10th, Moon's ruling the 11th. So a career out of groups, networks, social concerns, politics. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's that. Joseph Goebbels, German politician. That's a nice way of putting it. A German politician during World War II. Very that would be politically correct in this day and age. Can't call them Nazis, that's so rude. I don't know. Making stuff up. Let's see here. Leo's South Node in Leo, conjunct the ascendant. The ascendant, Sun in Scorpio. So very strong Scorpio ascendant in 5th house, which you have to have like some deep dark, signs or houses or aspects in order to be a politician in Germany during World War II, if you know what I mean. You call yourself a Nazi. All right. Pluto's in conjunct Neptune, which is really interesting, but it's sextile in conjunct Mercury. So Mercury and Scorpio, and that's actually a mutual reception. So that's really interesting. That's super tense. But Jupiter and Venus are in Libra. So Venus is in domicile along with Jupiter in the fourth house. So fourth house for homeland. And then of course Capricorn moon, you'd have to, in order to be so evil, have to have that Cap moon. North node in Aquarius, again that Aquarian utopia, dystopia, social concern issues, things like that. But we're saying fourth house, 11th house. So Venus, 11th lord in the fourth house. So boom, right there. Politics. It's hard to call Nazis politicians, but you know, they still fall into that category. Moon's out of bounds. Mars is in Scorpio. Very potentially nasty type person, very vicious. Right. Goebbels. Alexander the Great. Let me just, I think I wrote a little thing about him. Yeah. So this is a double X-rated chart, meaning that the date is in question, but you know, I kept it anyway. Alexander was king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. He succeeded his father Philip to the throne, so there's some inheritance here. At age 20, and spent most of his ruling years conducting a lengthy military campaign throughout Western Asia and Egypt. He overthrew the Persian Empire, carried Macedonian arms to India, and laid the foundation for the Hellenistic world with territorial kingdoms. Charismatic and ruthless leader, expanded the empire from Egypt to the Indian frontier. He inspired such loyalty from his men that they would die. They would follow him anywhere and, if necessary, die in the process. He had 2 sons. All right. Okay. Pluto right on the ascendant. Okay, so that's very important for somebody who does such big things. Pluto is the planet of obsession. And if you don't have a strong Pluto, in other words, if your Pluto is going to be hidden like mine is in the 12th house, you're not going to be nearly as motivated and ambitious to be like, I'm going to, you know, conquer all these lands and do all this big stuff. You're just like, nah, let's do little stuff and call it a day. Yeah, so anyway, it is what it is. And he's got Uranus conjunct the MC, so you know, social issues is directly opposite Mercury. So that's quite strong. Definitely some brilliant, you know, interactions going on there, kind of a genius type combination. And Capricorn for, you know, that structured success. North node in Aquarius again, in the 10th house, moving to the 11th house with the 11th, you know, Aquarius 11th house cusp. So 11th house conjunct the MC, 11th house Lord conjunct the MC. Right. Saturn's in the 2nd. So speaking, probably good speak maker. He's a good speak maker. Speaker. Mars and Gemini in the 3rd house. And, you know, that also for speeching is quite good. I don't know. I'm just, sometimes stuff comes out wrong, but and then I go with it. But then 4th house, he's got Mercury and Sun and Venus. 6th house, Moon and 7th. Now Moon he's a disgruntled fellow with this Moon in Scorpio. Deeply passionate and turbulent emotions, right? But very obsessive. There's a sesquisquare with Mars to Moon, but Mars rules Scorpio, co-rules it. So there's some validation, some dignity there. And Moon is by 3 degrees, still square the nodes. So something about this Moon in Scorpio, Moon being the fourth lord. So that makes a lot of sense, that this kind of drive to go out, seventh house is kind of outward, as well as 10th house. First and fourth are kind of inward, home and self. In any case, Alexander the Great is born before Chiron was tracked. I guess they don't know. I don't know why they don't know, but they don't know where it is. Uranus is the only retro thing, and Uranus does relate to politics and whatnot. Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury by exaltation, but not by degree, so that's not very strong mutual reception. But in any case, let's keep going. Che Guevara. Che Guevara was more of a militant revolutionary than a politician, but I don't know, just like throw him in there. And then of course he's got the signature Uranus on the ascendant in Aries. So Aries for starting new things, Uranus for rebellion. But he wasn't a great guy. He wasn't. Like, he killed lots and lots of people, and including gays, and I don't know, anyone who disagreed with him, which is not a good way to do politics. You don't just kill your political opponents, which is what they're trying to do to Trump, which is why so many people like him way more, because of what they're trying to do to him. But that's another subject. Yeah. All right. So Mars is in Pisces, along with Moon in the 12th house. So again, a lot of secrecy and hidden things behind the scenes. Saturn's ruling the MC. Saturn's in the 9th in Sag with South Node. So you see his career is very philosophically motivated, right? By Jupiter. Jupiter's in Aries in the 1st house. So there's some ego there, right? There's something about him being at the helm of, not only because it's in the 1st house, but it's in the 1st house with Aries. So this Jupiterian figure, this kind of savior, Santa Claus type, revolutionary Santa Claus, believing that he's, he alone is going to save, societies from the evils of capitalism. Meanwhile, he's killing and murdering his political opponents and enslaving the whole, working class population and condemning them to starvation and slavery. Pluto is in Cancer in the 4th. That's very strong for politics, but not necessarily in a good way, because Pluto is so controlling, right? And Cancer and the 4th house can both relate to that homeland, really wanting to control that. North Node is conjunct Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, so very smart in the 3rd house, so highly intellectual. Yeah, let's see. So Uranus is co-ruling the 11th house. That's in the 1st house. So a lot of that we see with this Uranus right in the 1st house, as far as like him being this political revolutionary. Most of his planets are direct. Saturn's retrograde, so he's not afraid to go against the law, break the law and whatnot. Mars, Jupiter, mutual reception. Yeah, Mars in Pisces, Jupiter in Aries. That's actually pretty interesting. And that ties the Mars into the 1st house with this Jupiter, and Jupiter to the 12th. So certainly some very creative, a lot of creativity, and physical philosophy, right? Enacting his philosophy, taking charge over his belief system in a physical way. Adolf Hitler, another World War II German politician. That's the nice way to say it. It's funny. Hitler, the German politician, has Moon and Jupiter in South Node in Capricorn. Moon is debilitated or in detriment. Jupiter is debilitated. So Moon and Jupiter together are a great combination, but the dignity is so bad here, especially with South Node. Powerful, yes, but it's in the third house. So this is partly showing his ability to communicate. And he was a great speech maker, right? He was a great speaker, speacher. He was a great speecher. And we see that here with the Moon Jupiter, but in a very poor dignity. So if you listen to his speeches, it's like, you get that Moon Jupiter quality where people loved him, but at the same time, it was Capricorn. It was very cold, hard, and not caring. But Moon and Jupiter are caring planets. They're supposed to be, right? So it's supposed to be like, all about like, Cancer or Taurus or Sag, or Pisces, where these planets do good. But it's not, it's in Capricorn. And then Mercury's in Aries right in the 7th, right? There's that fiery speech. Like that's Mercury in Aries, right in the 7th house. Sun's in the 7th house. Mars is exactly conjunct Venus, exactly, almost, right? In Taurus, where Venus is in domicile. So Mars and Venus also very passionate in the 7th, right? In Taurus, so stubborn. The fire inspiration is coming from Mercury and Aries, but Sun, Mars, and Venus is, that ability to be like so firm, so solid, right? Because I have Mercury in Taurus and Jupiter in Taurus. So I like to say things like with all the force of, a baseball bat, hitting a solid object, right? And that's what Taurus brings. It's that blunt force, brute force. With the passion and the sun, it's very passionate here, right? It's not like all like, no, because Sun and then Mars and Venus together are very so bring a lot of passion to Taurus, to slow, steady, stubborn Taurus, and then Mercury with Aries is that fire, right? And then there's a trine. More so with the South Node, but still the Venus Mars conjunction is connecting with the Capricorn, right? Especially by sign. And then Saturn in Leo. Saturn in Leo is, Leo wants to lead by royal decree, right? Royal fiat, right? Saturn wants to rule by authority. So Saturn in Leo, I have Saturn in Leo, and a lot of people have Saturn in Leo, but Saturn in Leo can be a bit of a dictator. He's got it square in the 10th house because it's that royalty mixed with the law, mixed with the authority. Saturn's the real law. Royal law is, it's sort of like the half-baked. It's what people did originally, like the royal class. They still have it in a lot of places. Where you don't have royalty, then the celebrities become the royalty, right? But in any case, you don't want royalty leading because it's just not very good. There's too much ego and pride, and it just becomes very dictatorial. It's not very fair. That's why Saturn is exalted in Libra, where Libra is the sign of fairness and balance, right? So that's why Saturn, the rule of law, can really do well. And then he's got Uranus in Libra, pretty close to the ascendant. So this is very political. Right? Political, social, political. Right? And then it's sesqui square Neptune and Pluto. And that is actually more Pluto, but Neptune's there too. That is power and control, also in the 8th house. Pluto, the sign of the planet of power and control, is in the house of power and control in Gemini. So through communication and propaganda, this dude wants power and control. This guy's North Node in the 9th in Cancer. It's still very prominent, but 9th house is more about philosophy and belief. So he's guided by his philosophy and belief system, which is, and then again, going back to this Moon and Jupiter in Capricorn, because, ruling, Cancer. So Saturn's the fourth lord in the 10th house. Mercury is the 11th in the 7th, right? So, yeah, very political. And powerful speech making. Powerful speecher. I like making up words. All right. Nothing extraordinary here, but I'll tell you, overall, it's a very extraordinary chart. Not in a good way, but extraordinary nonetheless. Hi, Selassie. He's the Jamaican god, I guess you could say. Leader. Maybe not god. God might be too strong a word. Leader. Rastafarian leader. Anyway. Leo ascendant. Sun conjunct Mars, even though it's out of sign, but Mars, Chiron, Mercury in the first, Saturn in the second, Uranus in the third, in Libra. So Mars is the fourth lord. That's coming right into the first house. It's still conjunct the ascendant because it's only 5 degrees apart. So fourth lord in Leo conjunct fourth lord Mars conjunct the ascendant. Very strong 11th house, North Node, Neptune, Pluto. So definitely political control, along with the ability to act and lie and deceive. Right, Jupiter in the 8th in Pisces, power control. Moon in Aquarius. Again, these are all indicators of political, social concern. Right. Ascendant Lord, MC Lord Venus is in the 12th. So the 12th can very much play a role in politics because of the hidden quality, the secrecy. Right? They do a lot of that. They deal a lot with that, as well as 8th house and 4th house. So the water houses, right? And the air houses. Right? The intellect, the communication, the 7th house is about connecting with others, and 11th house is about social groups, networks, obviously. Jupiter's retro, so religion is, he's going to be a religious revolutionary, obviously. He was. And the Jupiter is very strong in the 8th house. Right? So that's interesting. Being that he was the Rastafarian leader. JFK. All right. Libra ascendant, Saturn conjunct the MC along with Neptune. Dude can lie as well. He's definitely not JFK was great, but this Neptune in the 10th definitely indicates strong lying ability, strong creative deception. But Saturn is very good. Well, Saturn's not in good dignity. Saturn actually benefits the ascendant and the 4th lord and the 5th lord, 4th house and 5th house. And it is the 4th lord in the 10th, right? But then you have North Node, South Node, Pluto, North Node, Capricorn. And then Uranus in Aquarius in the 5th house. Uranus is stationary. Boom. Look at that. That's really, really potent. Trine the ascendant. That is very, very strong for politics. Mercury stationary. Oh my God. Guy's so smart. Conjunct Jupiter and Mars. And that's really interesting. He's going to be very philosophical and very quite aggressive, strong with Mars, very argumentative. In the 8th conjunct the 8th house cusp, diving into the secrets, as well as Sun and Venus in Gemini in the 8th. Yeah, 7th lord, 8th house, you could say. 8th lord, 9th house. It's interesting. Definitely a believer in the mysteries, the occult. astrology, things like that. He could, I don't know this for a fact, but the seventh lords in the, or eighth lords in the ninth house, and he believes, and he tends to carry his, there's actually a mutual reception here with Venus and Mercury. So definitely beliefs and occult secrets are mixing together. Right. Virgo moon. Actually, he has a lot in common with me. Virgo moon, Gemini sun, Mercury and Taurus, Venus and Gemini. Anyway, that's interesting. So Venus is his ascendant lord. That's in the eighth house. And that's not very good. That's square moon. And it's, I don't know if that's combust the sun. It's pretty far. But you know, as far as politics is concerned, moon's in the 11th. It's almost conjunct the 12th house cusp, but Mercury is the, Venus is sorry, Sun is the 11th house lord. That's in the 8th. So power control. So where do we see politics is what I'm trying to get at. Well, Saturn ruling the 4th in the 10th, and then stationary Uranus in the 5th trying the ascendant. Right. So very smart man. Very, very smart. Mercury's super potent. Uranus is super potent. Right. These, and then Venus and Mercury have a mutual reception. So this Mercury is dynamite. Even though it's not in domicile, it's got the Mercury, it's got reception with both Moon. And that's a really great one because yeah, I have both of these. Same thing. And my Mercury is not as slow as his. It's not stationary, but it's pretty slow. It's at 17 degrees. In any case. Yeah, this Mercury is so dynamite. It mutual reception with Venus and Moon. Right. And then Jupiter is not great for Mercury. Mars is okay. Mars and Mercury definitely create somebody who's very argumentative, really fierce. Fierce with their speech and could speak a lot. But Jupiter is very generous, benefic, and expands it. So like really good for speaking, for being speech maker, speecher, good speecher. Jupiter, because Mercury's stationary, I think it can handle the Jupiter. Ask not what your country can do for you. All right, that's enough. Let's keep going. Ayatollah Khomeini, he was I included this in here. He was the Iranian political and religious leader who served as the first supreme leader of Iran from blah blah blah. He's the founder of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iranian revolution saw the overthrow of the Shah. And okay. All right. Leader of Iran. All right. Nothing in the first house. Mercury's is ascendant lord in Taurus. And a very strong 10th house, very strong MC. Right? With Pluto, South Node, Neptune. Okay, once power control, definitely can lie very easily to the public, no problem there. And in the 9th house, religious philosophy is extremely important. Career, right? MC Lord and MC Lord conjunct the 9th house cusp. Super religious, right? Sun in the 9th house. Mars in the 9th whole sign house, right? 8th moving to the 9th. Okay. Uranus exactly conjunct the 4th lord, 4th cusp, sorry, with North Node. And Jupiter in Sag. Chiron, Moon in Sag, Saturn in Capricorn. I mean, it's extremely political, right? Venus in the 11th, right? Religious and political and career oriented, very strong. North Node, Uranus, I see. Jupiter, 4th lord, 4th whole sign house. 4th lord basically conjunct the 4th cusp. Jupiter. And then Chiron and then Saturn, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And Venus is out of bounds. This Venus in the 11th is out of bounds. So his love for social issues is very strong. Very, I should say, out of bounds, so extreme. Jupiter's retro, so his religious inclinations will be contrary, will be going against the grain. All right. Let's keep going. Kissinger has this extremely prominent South Node Uranus in Pisces, right? So Uranus for politics, Pisces, remember what I said? Liberal, ultra liberal. Also not a very savory character. Wrote the Kissinger. Was it the Kissinger? It was something. It was some report where he's talking about how foreign nations need to reduce their population, which is pretty evil if you think about it, because it's saying, like, telling the governments they need to kill their citizens, they need to kill their people in a through various means. That's totally horrifying. Sun conjunct Mercury in Gemini in the 12th, but first whole sign house. Mars and Gemini in the first. Right. Mercury and Venus. Sorry. Venus in Taurus conjunct the 11th house. It's actually 12th house. That's 12th. 11th, pulling in a little bit of 11th. Mars is ruling the 11th. Mars is in the first in Gemini, with Mercury dignifying the whole sign of Gemini. Pluto is in the second, so his values, his self-value, self-worth, very, very intense, deep, powerful, right? So like when these people, and this could go in ways, like maybe he feels like Pluto will go through that cyclic, self-destructive kind of tendency, but when Pluto is strong, there's nothing stronger, right? It's like sort of like the Scorpio vibe. When Scorpio's on top, it really is like the champ. It's only weak when it goes through its cycles of regeneration, right? So this Pluto in the second house has tremendous kind of self-worth, and confidence. Pluto in the second, right? Now that Neptune is in Leo in the fourth. So he was more of he was a politic. He was a tick, for sure, parasite, but he was more concerned with foreign policy, which is interesting. So Neptune in the fourth. Neptune, being the co-ruler of Pisces, can relate to foreign things. So that's interesting. Fourth house, home, foreign, Neptune. North Node is in the fourth quadrant, fourth whole sign house. Moon's conjunct Saturn, where Saturn is in Libra, so Saturn is in good dignity. Jupiter's in Scorpio. Trine Pluto. So this Jupiter is showing his belief system is very scorpionic, deep, intense, powerful, right? And then it's trine Pluto. So really, he believes in something very scorpionic, something where he has control, where he and his crony, ticks have control. South Node Uranus, that's really the politic. Saturn is the MC Lord in the 9th house. That is in the fifth whole sign house, 5th house, exalted with Moon. So that's interesting. And it's trine. So that shows a good career. Strong first house, second house. And yeah, really strong social 11th house issues. 11th Lord first. Okay. I'm reiterating the points that are make somebody driven towards politics, right? Mercury's retro. Venus is very strong. Venus is the 12th lord and the 5th lord. That's creative. All right, let's keep going. Lincoln. I'm trying not to make this too long, but it probably will be just because there's a lot to go through. All right, Aquarius ascendant. So right there, Aquarius ascendant, Sun and Aquarius conjunct the ascendant. Boom, Aquarius, social issues. All right. Mercury, Pluto, Jupiter. Jupiter's in domicile in the second, so good for speeching again. A lot of these really good speak makers are into politics. Venus is in the second, South Node in the third, Mercury's ruling the fourth, fourth lord in the first house, fourth in the first, conjunct Pluto with Jupiter and Pisces. MC with Neptune again and Saturn. So Saturn's the law of the authority. Neptune is the ability to lie and deceive, which apparently makes for a good politician. Mars and Libra, North Node, Uranus. Uranus stationary. Look at that S. Bingo. In the 9th house. So a radical belief system. Philosophical. And Uranus does well in Scorpio. In fact, Uranus is considered exalted in Scorpio. So very radical, very deep, very powerful social awareness. And he was, from what I read about him. So Mercury, fourth, and then Saturn. So Saturn's the 11th lord, conjunct the MC. Moon in the 12th in Capricorn. Moon square Mars. Saturn's also the MC lord, or ascendant lord, sorry. And Sun is the 7th lord, right in this. So he's so people come to him naturally. He attracts a lot of people to him. Sun's not in great dignity, so that's really interesting if you think about it, because attracting people to him in a poor dignity way, he was shot. And then we get the Mars and Libra trine. So Sun and Mars are not in good dignity. Mars is often, you'll see Mars a lot for violence, things like that. Then Aquarius also for accidents. Aquarius. Uranus for accidents. Scorpio for death, sudden death. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. Chiron is square Uranus. Uranus would be a co-ascendant lord, along with Saturn. Okay, so let me just check here. So yeah, Uranus stationary, very, very powerful. Everything else is direct except for the nodes, which are normally retrograde. Mars and Venus have mutual reception. I didn't even notice that. That's interesting. Venus is not ruling a cusp here, and is ruling the third lord, third cusp, third in the second. Third in the second is good for speech making. Speaking. And so Mars is not ruling a cusp here. Mars is ruling in 9th. So essentially we have what? Most of the 8th and 2nd, 8th and 2nd. So interesting. Resources or trading places. He had issues with money. In any case, I don't want to spend too long on that. Nelson Mandela. Nodes on the ascendant descendant axis. South node Venus, descendant, exalted Jupiter with Pluto. So he definitely believes in power and control, but in a protective way with in Cancer. So Sun's in the 8th. right? And Moon's in the 12th, and he was in jail for a long time. Let's see. Jupiter. Jupiter's with Pluto. Ascendant Lord with Pluto. Moon is the 8th Lord in the 12th. So 12th, I usually consider the place to look for jail because it's isolation, right? And that would be a 12th house thing. Politics. Let's see politics. So Uranus is in Aquarius. So that's one indication. Jupiter is ruling the 4th. That's exalted with Pluto in the 7th. Venus is so Mars in Libra in the 11th. That's not in good dignity. And then Venus is in Gemini in conjunct South Node in the 7th. So 11th Lord in the 7th. Saturn and Mercury in Leo. Jupiter seems to be his strongest planet, along with Uranus. So Jupiter and Uranus. A lot of poor dignity planets. Jupiter's is ascendant lord. Mercury is the MC lord. Mercury's with Saturn in the 9th. So in Leo, so philosophical. Leo also wants to shine, wants to be seen and heard. So on the public stage, Neptune. Definitely a complex chart here. So Uranus is the only retro planet. Jupiter gets the most points. Uranus would, but they're not considering Aquarius. They're not considering rulership for Aquarius for Uranus. Jupiter, Pluto, power control. He wants to lead. He's got this very strong 8th house, and he spent so long in jail that he wants to be in a position of power and control. And he definitely sees things differently with this Uranus retrograde in Aquarius as far as social issues, social, political. Angela Merkel. Some say that she's Hitler's daughter. I don't know if she is or not. I mean, people are so quick to believe anything that sounds that outlandish that has like a small percentage of feasibility. They're like, "Yep, that's the truth." Somebody just said that. That's the absolute truth. I heard it once, and now I'm 100% convinced that's the absolute truth. I mean, that's stupid, guys. We have to be really questioning, and you can hold something in your mind as a possibility without believing in it. Anyway, that's my little spiel. All right. Hitler's daughter or not, who cares? Sag ascendant with Mars in the 1st, Jupiter in Cancer with a stationary Mercury. So she's very smart, guys. Very, very smart. South Node, Uranus, Sun. Bingo. It's all right here. It's all right here in the 7th, moving into the 8th. 8th whole sign house, 7th quadrant. Right? Sun is basically moving to the 8th. So she's very secretive, of course. Neptune conjunct the MC, so definitely has no problem lying to the public, lying to the masses, lying her butt off. Right? Lies. Yeah, anytime Neptune is conjunct the MC, if they're not an artist, they're a liar. Saturn's also in the 10th house, and you see this a lot with political leaders. Right? Venus, so Venus is the MC Lord. It's in Virgo in the 9th, but it's in the 10th whole sign house. Anyway, Virgo. So she must be, philosophically driven. I don't know if she's very religious. With Venus in Virgo, I would doubt very religious. ninth lord is Mercury. Mercury's stationary, so very high-minded and highly educated, probably. And a Mercury is conjunct Jupiter and Cancer, so there's probably some, concern for people and whatnot. Neptune is trine Pluto, conjunct the MC, Neptune. So again, that power and control. Neptune is trine Uranus and the sun, or sorry, square. So definitely with that lies and deception and delusion. She's delusional herself, of course, but yeah, the political sway is very largely influenced by this sun conjunct Uranus and South Node. But she's very smart, stationary. Mercury stationary. It's not that people who don't have a stationary Mercury are not smart, but Mercury stationary people are very smart because they can think very, very slowly and carefully. Or they're going to be skilled in another way, right? If they're not an intellectual, maybe they're not an intellectual, but they have a very slow, potent Mercury, then they might be amazingly skilled with their hands, right? It could go different ways. All right. Walter Mondale. Oh, another boring politician. So let's go through this real quick. So Jupiter is in the first house, Jupiter in domicile with Uranus in Pisces. Another raging liberal, that Pisces just wants, it's about creativity. It's terrible for politics, right? Pisces is spirituality, creativity, and acting. But not for politics. But anyway, so we're getting a lot of political pull right here, and then South Node Saturn, right? Saturn, South Node Mars, North Node in the fourth house with Moon in the fourth house, Gemini, Mercury, and then Sun conjunct Mercury, Sun conjunct the fourth Lord, Capricorn, 11th house. So it's very political. Okay, Sun is opposite Pluto. I don't know what happened in his life. I don't know what happened to his kids, but that's not good. I don't know what happened to his father. Anyway, you can see very, a lot of politics indicators here, political indicators. Everything, all right. Nothing interesting. Boring politician. Netanyahu, Israeli PM. Sag rising with Chiron and Venus right on the ascendant. Venus, the 11th house lord. Okay. Venus is the 11th house lord. Venus is also the fourth exaltation lord, right? Venus is exalted in Pisces, so it's the exaltation lord. It's still pulling in that energy a little bit, not as strongly as the domicile. It would be 11th and 6th. Daily grind, hard work, and all that. Uranus is unaspected in Cancer in the 7th quadrant, 8th whole sign house. Saturn conjuncting the MC. And then very whole 11th house stellium. Mercury, Uranus, South Node, Moon, Sun. All right, and none of these are in great dignity. Sun is debilitated. All right. Yeah. Jupiter and Saturn. Mercury. Saturn and Mercury have a switch by exaltation, right? So mutual reception there. That's interesting. 10th and 11th. 10th and 11th switch ruse, the political, social house, and career. So that's very excellent for being a politician. Uranus is retrograde. So politically, he's going to have a different view than other people because Uranus is retrograde. So his idea of social politics, the way society should be run. It's going to be contrary. It's going to be counter. It's not going to go with the flow. He's going to be a bit more revolutionary and rebellious in that regard. Let me just check. Yeah, pretty slow Uranus, but not too much. All right, let's keep going. Nixon. He always did a peace moon. All right. Very mercurial. Virgo, Gemini. Okay. We saw this a lot with writers, but he doesn't have any third house going on. Not that you'd have to, but anyway. All right. Mars and Sag, Mercury and Capricorn. Mercury and Mars are pretty much conjunct along with Jupiter. Jupiter's in Capricorn. That's not so great for the Jupiter. But Mars, Mercury, was he a lawyer? I can't remember. But that Mars, Mercury can be good for law. So fourth lord, fifth house, fourth lord conjunct the ascendant and MC lord, Mercury. All right, so definitely concerned with home. And Sun's in Capricorn, leadership. Uranus is in Aquarius. So that's in domicile, strong Uranus. Moon also in Aquarius. So Aquarius is, again, thinking about society, thinking about politics. Gemini MC with Pluto in Gemini. So power, control. Pluto is opposite Mars, and that's intense. That's going to be pretty destructive. Mercury is out of sign from the total opposition, but it's still going to be opposite Pluto, so it's going to dignify this Pluto. But Mercury is the ascendant lord, so Pluto opposite the ascendant lord is not good. So there's something about his career, because Mercury is also ruling the career. So Pluto in the career, up and down, rise and fall, and then being opposite Mercury, the lord of the MC, falling career. Venus is in Pisces along with Chiron in the 6th. It's interesting. He probably has a really unusual sense of beauty that applies to regular 6th house things. This could be pets. This could be cooking. This could be home decor, right? Mundane stuff. He likes to decorate, but he has a weird sense of decoration. Neptune's in the 11th. So I'm not a crook. Well, we're not sure about that. Neptune in the 11th, so definitely he can lie about his politics. All right. So I think it's really coming from here and then here. So Pluto in the 10th house, and then Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, and then Sun, and then Uranus and Moon in Aquarius in general. But yeah, Jupiter, and then Moon is ruling the 4th house in Aquarius. 4th house. 11th house. Sorry. 11th house in Aquarius. Sometimes like my mouth and my brain are just like doing their own thing. They're just like, woo. They forget to like meet up and compare notes. All right. Saturn's retrograde, which is interesting. Mr. I'm not a crook. Saturn retrograde definitely can go against Saturnian things, which includes laws. Not saying that everyone who has Saturn retrograde is a criminal, but certainly lends itself to it. At least to questioning authorities a lot. Anyway, let's keep going. Barack Obama. Not a fan of Barack Obama, but Aquarius ascendant, Jupiter in Aquarius, meaning his belief system is becoming very Aquarian, socialist. He's a socialist. He's guys, he's not a Democrat. He is completely a socialist. And a criminal too. South Node in Aquarius. Mercury, Sun, Uranus, North Node, all in Leo in the 7th house. Mars is ruling the MC. Scorpio with Neptune. Believes in lying. Neptune in the 9th. Believes in deception. He does. And then MC Lord in the 8th. This is a sign of a criminal. When the MC Lord is in the 8th, he could be an astrologer, he could be an occultist, he could be a sex worker, or he could be a criminal, right? Because especially with Mars ruling Scorpio. First of all, he believes in lying. Second of all, his career is in secrecy. It just is. I mean, you can't argue with astrology. You want to tell me it means something else? I could show you criminal charts that look like this, that have this. My chart has this, but I'm not a criminal. I got that Virgo moon that won't let me be. I mean, it would be really conflicted if it was, but I resolve that by being an astrologer, by diving into those secrets and sharing them with you guys, right? But this is criminal. Pluto's in Virgo in the 7th. Pluto in the 7th wants to control other people, control and manipulate. So Moon's in the 4th in Gemini, very strong for politics. Jupiter is the 11th lord. It's in Aquarius in the 12th. Saturn's in Capricorn, so strong Saturn. Pretty strong 12th house because Saturn's ruling the 12th lord, 11th and the 12th. Yeah, he's all about secrecy and hidden things and lies and deception. And he's a weird one because Chiron's squaring the moon, so he's definitely weird on the inside. Like we don't see the moon so much. So if like the moon is kind of messed up, it's not going to show up as much. But he's very smart, crazy, weird, highly political with North Node Uranus, right? And yeah, definitely wants to control, and it's pretty criminal. Jupiter's retro, Saturn's retro. Not afraid to go against the law or religion. He's not a religious person. Or if he is religious, it's not a nice religion. It's Satanism. He's a Satanist. I hate to break it to you. Barack Obama, along with a lot of his cronies, the Bushes, the Clintons, they're all Satanists. They're literally satanic. They literally, this is not hyperbole. They literally worship Satan. Ocasio-Cortez. AOC. Weird one. Sad descendant with Venus. All right, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune in Capricorn in the 1st house, 1st quadrant, but moving to the 2nd. So that's an indication. Jupiter is in Cancer, along with Chiron in the 7th, moving to the 8th. Jupiter is opposite Neptune. See, Neptune's with Saturn. And Saturn's in Capricorn, Neptune's in Capricorn. You know, that's not good for somebody who wants to be really like, you know how she's always like going off on her like soapbox, like acting so self-righteous. Well, you have to have like very solid logic and reasoning if you want to be like this like fighter for the good cause. Otherwise, you're just going to be confused. But Saturn is conjunct Neptune, and Neptune is opposite Jupiter. And these are high planets, and Uranus too. So her thinking is delusional, right? And it's just like, okay, you're not thinking straight. You're completely confused because of this Uranus. Yeah, she might be very fierce in many ways. She's got the Aries moon, she's got a Libra sun and Mars, so she's kind of a joker, but she does like underneath all that with the moon, she's fights. She has this fighting quality, very schmoozy with the Libra, Mercury, and Mars, and um, Sun. These are in poor dignity. Pluto's in the 11th. She's always like, so Mercury's conjunct the MC, and she's always like, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot to try and figure out here. Chiron is square Mars. And this Mars is going to damage this Chiron because it's not good. It's not good in Libra. It's not good in Cancer. Jupiter is going to damage this Saturn. Saturn's going to damage this Jupiter. So this is real polarity, right? Jupiter is strong, Saturn is strong, Neptune. So she's really making a lot of enemies. Jupiter's weird with Chiron here. And Saturn's very Uranian, rebellious. So she's making a lot of enemies. And Mercury, Moon, right? Her talk is not really making her happy, but her moon's in the 4th house, so she's happy. She does have concern. Her concern is real. It's just that her head's not in the right place. Her North Node's in Aquarius. She's very confused. A lot of enemies, a lot of oppositions that are not helping each other, right? Mercury doesn't help Aries. Moon doesn't help Libra. Jupiter harms Capricorn, or rather Capricorn harms Jupiter, however you want to look at it. And same with Cancer and Saturn. So these are very much at odds. She makes enemies. And she is not, her Sun and Mars are not in good dignity. Her son-in-law is Jupiter's in Cancer, but it's weird. Jupiter in Cancer is weird, right? And you know how like people make fun of her looks, like horse mouth, right? Okay, that's Jupiter in Cancer conjunct Chiron. Weird. Chiron's that mythical beast, so she kind of looks like a mythical beast. It is what it is. See, Venus is the 11th lord. 11th lord in the 12th in the 11th. So 11th and 12th, secrecy. Pluto in the 11th. Anyway, Uranus influencing our Saturn, so 2nd, 3rd, and then Moon in the 4th. Mars, so 4th lord, 10th, conjunct the Sun. Moon in the 4th, so a lot of 4th house activation. A little bit 11th house in Uranus. See, everything's direct here. Even though she acts like, except for the nodes, even though she acts very rebellious, she's just like, believe CNN and listen to the government, and we're never going to lie to you, and the conventional view is the most right view, and follow the masses and do everything you're told. That's when all the planets are direct. That's what the people are like. James Knox Polk, another boring politician. Well, let's just read about him. Long time ago. I mean, 1795 he was born. He was the 11th president, and Polk was the last strong pre-American Civil War president. Polk is noted for his foreign policy success. He threatened war with Britain and then backed away and split the ownership of the Northwest with Britain. I know nothing about this guy, basically, but all right. Nodes on the ascendant-descendant axis. Jupiter in the 1st in Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius. So Aquarius, very strong. Capricorn also for leadership. Right. And then we got a very strong career house, 10th public image, Venus, Sun, Neptune. And then another one, not afraid to lie to the public. Really not afraid. Okay. Venus is the 4th lord, and Venus is not in good dignity, but 4th and the 10th. Career out of homeland. home, politics. Saturn and Gemini. Moon in Cancer conjunct North Node in the 7th. That's excellent for winning the hearts and minds of the people, right? Because Moon in Cancer, very caring, very good dignity. The 7th cares for other people. Uranus and Virgo with Chiron and Mars, and that's in the 8th quadrant. So that's a little more hidden, but definitely brings up power control issues with Uranus here, politics, social. I think mostly it's this Venus. So I'm not sure if Uranus is playing such a role here. I think it's more Venus in the 10th with the sun. And yeah, 4th Lord, and then Jupiter in the 11th and the 1st. 4th and the 10th, 11th and the 1st. In Aquarius, with Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto wants power and control. Jupiter's the belief system. Saturn's retrograde. Pluto's retrograde. Mercury's very slow. So war. He wanted to go to war with Britain. I think that would be mostly with the Scorpio, not so much with the Cancer. I mean, Cancer is very protective and fighty, but he backed away. Mars is in the 9th, 10th Lord, well, 8th actually. 10th and the 8th. 10th and the 8th can be quite aggressive, right? That's bringing that criminal element. It's not deep in the 8th like Barack Obama, but it's still here. Not as criminal as Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. Vladimir Putin. Very strong 12th house. Again, Scorpio ascendant, Venus and Scorpio on the ascendant. Venus is not in good dignity. Venus is the 7th. So he attracts people to him, but not in good dignity. So he's got to watch out. Check his ascendant mode. Mars is in the 2nd house in Sag. So probably pretty good speech making abilities. Good speecher. North Node in Aquarius in the 4th house. Politics right here. South Node, Pluto, Leo. Definitely very strong career as a leader, as somebody on the big stage. So Sun's not in good dignity in Libra, but Saturn is. And then there's Neptune and Mercury. So definitely another one who can lie his butt off. Mercury, Neptune. Definitely a liar. Definitely working in secret, working in the shadows. MC Lord's Sun in the 12th house. Career in secrecy. And he was in the KGB. So that's very prominent. And then Uranus in the 9th house, conjunct the 9th house cusp. So he believes in social issues. His philosophy is very social, very political, radical as well, changeable as well. Jupiter and Taurus in the 7th, same as me. And then Moon in Gemini, not the same as me. But 7th house. So, good ability to relate to people. Jupiter in the 7th, in Taurus, in any sign. Well, maybe not in Capricorn, but in good dignity or decent dignity, really wants to help people. And his Jupiter square the nodes. And Jupiter is ruling 5th house and 2nd house. So interesting. Speculative investments involve other people. And he finds value in his relationships and business. In any case, politics. Saturn's the 4th Lord, conjunct the Sun. And career, power, control, authority, believes in social issues. Jupiter's retro, so he's not going to be conventionally religious. I don't know what his religion is. Ronald Reagan, Sag ascendant, Mars in Capricorn, Mercury conjunct Uranus in Capricorn, politics right here. Sun in Aquarius, politics again. So he was an actor, you know that. Actors and politicians, they go together. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. Venus is conjunct Chiron in Pisces, in the second quadrant, third whole sign house. So that's interesting. It's definitely going to influence his communication, his speech. Not sure. I'd have to look. I'd have to see. But Venus is strong in Pisces. Mercury and Uranus are brilliant together, and pretty good in Capricorn. You know, not bad, not bad. Here, look. Mars is sextile Venus. That's great for being on stage, because then he's really, his masculinity, his sexuality, his sensuality, they're really in harmony. So this makes very attractive people. Not necessarily looks, it can include looks, but really it's about the harmony, the vibe that the person puts out, right? Very potent, right? And my Venus and Mars are sextile. South node Jupiter in the 11th house. South node Jupiter is wise. It's in Scorpio. So that's interesting. I don't know. Something deep and dark and hidden about that. But nonetheless, that's 11th house. And it's exactly opposite Moon in Taurus and North Node, which is very interesting. That's 5th house. Venus is ruling the MC and the 5th, and that's exalted in the 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. So 5th Lord for acting, entertainment, definitely. 11th house for politics, definitely. Mars ruling the 4th and the 1st, exalted in Capricorn. Pluto's in Gemini, so definitely likes to control other people. And then Neptune in the 7th, also somebody. Well, his relationships can be very Neptunian, but also ability to lie to people, for sure. For acting, yes. But again, and this is opposite Mercury and Uranus, mostly Mercury. The ability to lie, dude can lie like nobody else. But it seems very common for these politicians, right? It's not unusual. But what you don't want to do is look at these politicians and be like, they're telling the truth. Then you're an idiot. Like if a politician is speaking and they're very convincing, that just means they're a really good actor, right? But you have to compare it to their astrology chart. Certain people are better actors than others, right? We know that. He was an actor, a real life actor, like a movie actor. So you think he's not going to be able to act on stage as like just because he's president? BS. My God. Of course he's going to act. All right. Nothing much to say about that. Let's keep going. FDR. Okay, FDR was like, I think he's the Depression president. He's the New Deal. FDR, 32nd president, 4 terms in office. That's a long time, 1933 to 1945. And he's the only U.S. president to have served more than 2 terms. Central figure, 20th century during time of World War, economic crisis and World War. He was consistently been ranked as one of the 3 greatest U.S. presidents in surveys. During the Great Depression, he created the New Deal to provide relief for the unemployed, recovery of the economy. And then AOC wants to create the Green New Deal to stop cows from farting. So FDR created the New Deal and AOC created the Green New Deal. Anyway, Uranus, right, conjunct the ascendant from the 12th. 5 degrees ish. And just by the way, I'm very political. I do have Uranus conjunct the ascendant. I'm very political. And then Sun and Venus and Mercury in Aquarius. So a lot of politics right there. Okay. Mars is stationary. Boom. In Gemini, conjunct the MC. So very prominent career, very strong career. Mars stationary conjunct the MC in the 10th house is brilliant. Okay, it's not in domicile. It's not in a sign that's really positive or negative. It's neutral, but it's stationary. So that's stationary gives it tremendous potency. Moon's in Cancer in the 10th whole sign house. 10th quadrant, sorry, 10th house. South node Gemini, north node Sag, and then very strong 8th house as well. Mars is ruling the 8th house. So that actually is a big criminal element going on. And I don't know what secret dealings he had, but some backroom handshakes and winks and money passed and who knows what else. I don't know. But Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Chiron, Pluto, all in the 8th, moving into the 9th. Pluto is in the 9th, but a lot of secrecy, a lot of hidden things, a lot going on that I know nothing about. But in any case, Ascendant Lord Mercury, MC Lord Mercury in Aquarius, along with Sun and Venus. So politics. 4th Lord in the 8th house. That's not really so political, but 9th house. 9th would be belief system. Anyway, let's look at dignity. Mars station, Uranus retrograde. So his politics are going to be a bit contrary to the norm. And then Mars stationary is extremely potent, so that he's really able to push up towards the public's career and spotlight. And that's why he served 4 terms, right? And then Moon as well. Moon's the 11th Lord, and that's in domicile in the 10th. So very, very prominent career. Maggie Thatcher. Saturn in Scorpio, right on the ascendant. Iron Lady, right? They didn't know she had Saturn on the ascendant. They just called her the Iron Lady. But Saturn is iron. Saturn is structure. Saturn's iron. And then Jupiter's in Capricorn, South Node in Aquarius. Moon conjunct Neptune in Leo, another actress. It's crazy how many of these. I personally get insulted by people lying to me, and I also get really annoyed when people believe those lies, right? They're like, they're not lying. No, they're just really good at acting, you fucking idiot. Stupid people. Mars and Sun are both in Libra. So this is the Iron Libra. The Iron Lady has her Mars and Sun in Libra. Of course, Saturn and Scorpio on the ascendant. Right? Mercury and Mercury and Libra. Mercury is the ascendant, the MC Lord. It's in the 12th house. So again, dealing with secrecy. Pluto is exactly trine the ascendant along with Saturn, and exactly opposite Jupiter. But Jupiter benefits Cancer. So Jupiter is actually dignifying this Pluto. Pluto is probably harming this Jupiter, which is already harmed. But so Pluto is the stronger out of this combination, these two. And Jupiter is the 4th Lord. Go figure. In the 2nd house. But Uranus is in the 4th house. So Uranus in the 4th. Strong career. Saturn on the ascendant. And then, Mars, you could say that's pretty much in the 11th. Sun, I would consider more in the 12th. Mercury's opposite Chiron. What's really interesting is that, like, she had, not to make fun of her, but she kind of had a helmet head, right? Her hair kind of looked like a helmet. That's very Saturnian. And almost like a Darth Vader look, but if, like, it was a woman, and the helmet was hair, and um not quite as dark, but scorpionic nonetheless. So, like, definitely, like, a little bit of scariness. But south node, Aquarius, Uranus in the 4th node, Saturn on the ascendant, Jupiter in Capricorn. Even though it's not in good dignity, it's still in Capricorn. Capricorn is leadership, authority. And then Pluto's power and control, right? So that's tying into it, right? All right. Maggie Thatcher. Uranus is retrograde. Okay, her politics are going to be different. With retrograde planets, there's a need to exert independence and go against the grain, to not follow the norms. Justin Trudeau. All right, Justin Trudeau is highly unlikable. Highly, highly unlikable. Like, nobody should like this guy because he's just terrible. But he's got Saturn and Gemini in the 10th. Saturn for, being a leader, dictator, really. He's got a grand air trine. Saturn, Pluto, and Venus and North Node, all tied together. Mercury is the ascendant lord. It's in Sag, for dignity. In the 4th, though, with Jupiter. Jupiter's in Sag. So Jupiter's bringing dignity to Mercury. And then Neptune. Definitely that lying ability. Neptune, not too close to Mercury, but close enough. Dude has zero problems lying his butt off because of that. Uranus is opposite Moon. So definitely strong connection, Uranian connection there. The social issues, politics, whatnot. Mercury is also the 11th lord. So 11th in the 4th. Homeland. Social, groups, networks. So that's all very, and then Sun in Capricorn, trine the ascendant. So that's quite good. Venus in Aquarius with North Node. Mars in Pisces for the ridiculous liberalism. Saturn's retro. So one who's not afraid to go against the law, authority. Otherwise, very conformist. Very conformist. Except for Saturn. That's where he's criminal. A lot of these politicians, they're criminal actors. Now, what's interesting is that Donald Trump does not have Neptune in the 10th. He's got Uranus. Uranus for politics, right? Sun, North Node, Uranus in the 10th house in Gemini for politics. Opposite Moon in the 4th. Moon in the 4th. Moon, you could say 5th house cusp. Sure. TV shows, yeah. Right? It happened. Mars conjunct the ascendant. Mercury is the 11th lord, 11th in the 11th house, 11th and 11th. So you can see Venus also in the 11th, well, maybe closer to the 12th, but conjunct Saturn. And remember, Venus conjunct Saturn makes a conservative type person. He doesn't drink. I think that's one of his saving graces. Makes him a lot more sober and smart. And then, of course, Jupiter stationary, and he's a rich man. We all know that. And speech-making abilities, strong with his 2nd house, 3rd house, 3rd cusp. there's a mixed reception also obviously between Saturn and Jupiter, but also Venus and Jupiter, because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, Venus is in domicile in Libra. So that's called mixed reception, but mutual reception with Saturn and Venus, with Jupiter stationary. So Jupiter gets like extra points in the second house, second, third, right? So for riches, wealth, brilliant. And then politics, Mercury, 11th house, Uranus, obvious. Whenever you see a stationary planet, nodes don't count because they vacillate very quickly back and forth. So I don't really pay attention to nodes that much. They probably mean something, but it's very subtle, right? It's not major. But a stationary planet is like, that's going to be like, the angels singing in the background. That's going to be the glory moment in a chart. If there's a stationary planet. We're almost there, guys. George Washington. And obviously, like, if this video is too long for you or any of the videos, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, but like, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Like, I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm gonna do as much as I feel like doing. And you can turn it off at any point. George Washington. Already. Taurus ascendant. MC is at Capricorn, 29 degrees. So, all right. Mercury's in Aquarius in the 10th house. So that's for politics. He was also a general. We can see Mars in Capricorn in the 7th for that. Uranus is in the 8th cusp, anyway. But very strong career as a speaker, leader, organizer, also aggressor. And then Venus is in Pisces along with Sun. And this is 11th house, right? Sun on the 11th house, Venus 11th house. And then Moon would be ruling the 4th cusp. So Moon's in the 9th in Capricorn, but widely conjunct the MC. So, and then probably Sun is carrying a lot of that 4th house flavor as well, because it's taking up most of the 4th house, and that's in the 11th. So we can see a lot of like politics. Saturn is in Aries, and he was the first president. So I was thinking, okay, probably Aries. Mars, for first, that's Aries Mars kind of flavor. So Mars and domicile in Scorpio on the 7th. Saturn in Aries is not good dignity, but Saturn is leadership. Aries is first, and it's conjunct in exalted Venus by a few degrees. And Venus is the ascendant lord in the 11th house. So that's all very prominent for a president. North nodes in Sag in the 8th house. That's really interesting. So going very, very deep. 8th house would also be good for strategy, like for wartime. Bring in the kind of plutonic and energy, and then Jupiter's conjunct Pluto in the 6th house. So academic, daily grind, strategy, Jupiter, it's kind of like this very megalomaniac belief system with Jupiter and Pluto, but very strategic as well. Philosophy and strategy are coming together. And Jupiter's ruling the 8th house. So for war strategy, excellent. Dispositing the 11th house as well. Jupiter's ruling the 11th house, conjunct Pluto. So anyway, tying together political strategy with social issues, something like that. Jupiter's retro, so not very or unorthodox religion, definitely. The outer planets tend to be a bit more obscure. Uranus, when Uranus is retrograde, it's very just very rebellious, just like rebellious towards everything. I mean, because Uranus is rebellious anyway when it's prominent, but retrogrades even more. Neptune and Pluto are a bit nebulous when they're retrograde. It's sort of hard to define, a bit vague. His Neptune seems really slow, so let's just check here. One day, yeah. So his Neptune is almost stationary, and it's opposite Uranus, in conjunct South Node, in the second house. So that's interesting. I'm sure it'd be super powerful for creativity, but I'm not sure how this is manifesting. I'd have to do some research, into his life, see how that played out. Mao Zedong, and this is the last one, Chairman Mao. Capricorn, Sun, Ascendant, Libra, MC with Saturn, South Node. So for leadership, that's going to be very strong. And then Uranus in the 10th in Scorpio, along with Mars in Scorpio in the 11th. Right? Very, very prominent. Jupiter in the 4th, well, 5th, you could say, because it's pretty much conjunct the 5th house cusp. But so Mars would be ruling the 4th, and North Node is in Aries in the 4th whole sign house, but 3rd quadrant. But so 3rd, 4th ish, but Mars, 4th Lord in the 11th. So for politics, leadership, that's very strong. Capricorn leadership, right? Saturn in Libra, South Node, very, very strong for politics, leadership, control, but also so communism. Venus is in communism. Venus is in Aquarius, second house. So that's definitely a love for Aquarian type things, which would include socialism, communism. And Saturn is also the MC Lord. Venus is also Saturn's the ascendant Lord in Libra. Venus is the MC Lord in Aquarius in the second house. So definitely making money off of his career from socialism. Right. And very forceful. Mars in Scorpio and Uranus in Scorpio. Violent and forceful. Potentially violent. I mean, Mars is in good dignity in Scorpio, but it could still be very, very aggressive. Right. Uranus and Moon are square. So there's something very shocking about his mind. He's got a grand trine in fire. So leadership, initiation, starting, inspiration. But this Moon's trine Mercury. Mercury's not in good dignity. Mercury's also opposite Neptune and Pluto. So again, that ability to lie, deceive, act is very strong with this one. But this Moon's in the 8th house, so definitely a lot of internal struggles with his own sort of happiness, right? His Moon is our happiness, so it's in Leo, so very proud, but a lot of internal turmoil, crisis, and sudden shocks to his happiness, but ability to express his heart is strong with this Mercury here, Mercury Moon. Yeah. Jupiter's retro, so non-conventional philosophy or religion, which is true. Venus, Saturn. Yeah, of course. And they're trying. So that's excellent. That's excellent for career, leadership, and wealth and ascendant. His personal success. He made a lot of money out of his political career, championing the people. Give me a break. You gotta be a goddamn idiot to be like, oh yeah, socialism, communism, that benefits the people. No, it just makes everyone a slave, and the people at the top who are really good liars raking all the money. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. All right. That's pretty much it for the politics one. And I think I've taken long enough time. So this is the mediocre astrologer signing off. Meh, he's okay. That's my tagline. It's funny, I think. So anyway, I will see you guys again soon. Like, subscribe, share, and book a reading with me. I'm available. All right. I'll see you again soon. Bye.